Holy cow, Kate. What number episode is this?
144.
144. In 144 episodes, which let's add about 4 hours editing per episode.
Yeah.
So we're talking over 500 hours of your effort. And I don't think you've ever screwed up once.
Oh, well, thank you.
Everything
I might have once.
Everything that you've published. There's never something where I'm listening and I'm like, oh no, we should not have said that. Or,
like that.
Like, that's so impressive.
Thank you.
They say like 10,000 hours makes you a master at something. And we're on our way, baby.
Oh boy.
You know? Because if you count the podcasting plus the editing, we got at least 2 more years left and we're masters.
I mean, I do feel like the editing is like a science now.
It's incredible.
I have like a routine. Bing, bing, boom, boom. It's like pretty
Bada
awesome.
boom.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
That's me. Oh God, dropping my phone.
Wow.
Sisters, sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters, sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, 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 sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Hello.
Hello. Let's do it like Bruce Willis. Hello.
Oh. Hello. Yes.
Hello. I'm annoyed I'm a movie star. I'm sorry.
Okay. Welcome back, listeners.
Welcome back. I can't believe you're still here.
We're not opera singers. We're not Bruce Willis. But I'm going to tell you who we actually are.
Who are we?
Listeners, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where 2 sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And bada boom!
Bada boom. Supreme Being.
Oh, what is our movie?
1997 classic, The Fifth Element.
It is a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
guess what?
So interesting. What?
It's your turn to do the synopsis.
No, this is such a hard movie.
Oh, it really is. This is like some Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, you gotta take notes to understand what's happening. There's so many things happening.
Bruce Willis as Korben Dallas, a cab driver turned unlikely hero in this story about love and survival set in the 23rd century from writer-director Luc Besson. The dark force threatens humanity and Korben and his new friend, Leeloo, must stop it. Starring Bruce Willis. I don't know. Okay, so basically, every movie from the 90s that thought of the future had just sad reality to expectation match because they thought we'd have flying cars and they thought we would have way more advanced technology and you know, we just don't. And I gotta tell you, the one thing they did not think of was like a smartphone because in the future they still had
a landline.
Like,
it was like a little landline that it didn't have a cord, but I was like, that's cumbersome, guys. Come on. Make it a rectangle and I'm there.
I have a lot of things we'll talk about, but my sense on Bruce Willis is he used to be in the military and he was very talented and he's not anymore. And he just drives a cab, but kind of down and out luck. Very much Die Hard start. Yeah. I'm just going to tell you right now. And then, out of nowhere, this freaking woman falls into his cab, like literally. And then he gets thrust into this other plot where, believe it or not, she is the fifth element.
She is.
That's her. She's the fifth element.
There's 5.
Which, if we go back to Nancy from The Craft, that makes a lot of sense with fire, earth, wind, air, Milla Jovovich.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. So he starts to, she's stunning. So I have to talk you through this like motivation, but he falls in love with her.
Yeah, because like we fall in love, but how many words did we exchange? It's some Love Actually.
Very Love Actually.
Yeah.
But he falls in love, and I think he's kind of trying to, he has this personality of he is like a good guy, and he's like, you know, the police are after this person. They want help. They don't speak English. Like something's going on. I'm just gonna like protect this person. And all the while while in the backstory, you're starting to learn about this fifth element. All the way back in time in like 1914, I believe, Egypt, where people were protecting this special, I don't know, what would you call it? Like this...
A shrine? Like the runes? I don't know.
The runes where
the runes.
When you have the elements, you add it to this area within this pyramid, and that's what essentially saves the world if evil comes. And so these nice aliens are like, hey man, are you still holding up all the elements? And the protectors are like, we got you. But then like shit gets weird, and throughout time there's always these priests that like, it's very Opus Dei, you know, protecting the covenant, Indiana Jones, you know, we're trying to keep it all together.
Reference.
I know. And so there's a new priest in the future that's like, I know what's happening, because he somehow is with the president when there's this evil force a brewing, so to speak. And then the evil force gets bigger, and then the president's like, we're trying to kill it, and it just gets bigger, and we don't know what's happening.
They're like, let's keep shooting it. Maybe that'll one day work.
I know.
And makes it stronger? Oh, well.
What doesn't kill you makes you
stronger.
So the priest is like, you know, I know, and I don't have the military clearance for this conversation, but let me throw this out here. Do you think that every 300 years when evil strikes, we need to collect these fifth element stones to save the world?
It's like, did you read my pamphlet? I went door to door, so you
I know
read
I'm
it.
not really part of the bi-weekly agendas, but so then they start to believe him because this evil thing gets way more evil. And there's so many other things happening. There's like side evil plots. Gary Oldman.
Oh my God.
There's people working with Gary Oldman that are like monster people, and then they have angles. And then all of this is directing towards this kind of hotel where, as you heard us earlier sing opera, there is this performance, and everyone is realizing that they cannot find the other elements. And you can't just have not 5 elements. I don't know. Because
right, because there's a fifth one.
Stay with me. So you need to start with one. It's so confusing, this movie. So basically everyone's like, okay, we all know it's at this hotel, let's meet there. But they don't know about the fifth element. They don't know what's happening, except Bruce Willis is like, this lady's got a lot going on, and this priest seems to think she's important, but I'm just always around, and I'm always protecting people, and I'm in love with her, and so we're just gonna figure it out. And then, in the end, they save the world from death and destruction, and Bruce Willis casually then has sex with like a supreme being in a chamber in front of everybody.
It is in front of everyone, isn't it?
There's a lot that's not there, and that's why we're doing this, because
wow,
that hurt my head. You know, Katie, I have a raging hangover today. Probably the first one I've had in a year, and woo, that was hard.
I mean, it's a lot of twists and turns, I gotta say. And, you know, it's so funny because I feel like when I was younger, this movie was 1997, I would have been 6 when it came out. And then, of course, you know, when it came out on video or whatever, I'm sure it was like a little bit older. But I remember watching this like very young. And even though I had definitely seen it other times after that, I had a lot of like false memories about this movie.
Yes.
So I did not at all remember this beginning part with that like we're in Egypt, and like this is very Indiana Jones, this part where it's like we got a professor and we're gonna recruit little quirky kids, LOL, and like what? So that was interesting.
With
for
Luke
me.
Perry.
Is that who that was? Because you last episode were like, oh my God, Luke Perry, and I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's how you could tell I'm older.
What was he on? You said he was on a show.
90210. Oh my God. The older listeners. Katie's like 9021. What?
Who?
So Luke Perry is supposed to be this like assistant / artist. Kate, he was a terrible artist.
Not good. What was he even drawing?
I don't know.
And why was he drawing? And like what?
I don't know.
What's happening?
But Indy, aka this professor, was like, I found it. This is the area where they bring all of the stones together, and this is it. He was like, let's do it. And then the alien dudes come in, and he's like, wow.
Yeah, that's true. The professor didn't know like how to get in that. He didn't even know there was like a room back there.
He didn't know
there was
what
like
was
the priest.
happening.
The priest knew, and then the aliens came, and they were like, get out of our fucking way, you scrubs. And I was like, okay.
Yo, did you get Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal?
Oh my god, yes! The Garthog. That's what they reminded me of. Very cumbersome design, aliens.
Is the Garthog from Coneheads? I'm talking
that
about
is Nerful the Garthog, isn't it? Oh, I think you're right. Gartham. It was Gartham.
Okay.
One of those Gars. Why couldn't they needed like some roller skates or hoverboards or something, because they walk so goddamn slow, and that one guy walked so slow he literally got stuck in the chamber and probably died. I don't know.
That was Aki's. And I also thought, so these are the people saving the world?
Yes.
Did we not think to like
the alien
maybe make them a little more like nice and kind and like not scary looking, because they looked like evil villains?
I think that was supposed to be the point, though. They were supposed to like, you're supposed to be like, I'm scared, but then like in 2 seconds you're like, oh, JK, they cool.
All right, I'm gonna take a step back. The director, Luc Besson, I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
He wrote this when he was a teenager, Kate.
Well,
do not give up on that screenwriting class,
Bridget. You know what? I see a little bit of some teenage boy thoughts and motivations happening here, a la Bruce Willis.
He wrote this as a teenager and then went back to, kept reworking it, got an opportunity in 91 to make it, and it was 400 pages long. So it was a very complicated, cumbersome movie, and they were like, this is too expensive. So then he didn't give up, and he kept trying again. And when he was 38 in 1997, he finally made it happen. And I gotta say, if you think about a teenager writing this, it makes more sense.
It abso-fucking-lutely does. I'm not kidding. There's a line in my notes where I said, is Bruce Willis a teenage boy? I'm not even fucking kidding. I think it's later in the movie when we get there, I'll note it, but like, yeah, like it definitely felt like that in some parts. That's so funny.
Here's the other thing. It's 1914, and I gotta say, didn't really believe it. I'm gonna say, no old-timey talking. The costumes were weird. It just looked like you threw current day people in like the Mummy.
Some sand.
Yeah, it was weird. But but then you're like, okay, cool. There's these things, and like evil comes, and you're like, all right, I trust the priests. They're on the good side. And there's something about this pyramid. There's something about elements, and there's something about a fifth one. And then you just flash forward to another section, and you're like, what's happening now?
Yeah. So those aliens, they took out the stones. They were like, they're not safe on Earth, which like, I don't know why, but like, fuck it. Bye. See? And then the one alien dies, but he gives his little finger key to the priest. And then it's like, now you have to pass on your knowledge to future priests. And then that's when we get to the present time with Ian Holm, who was Bilbo Baggins and Ash from Alien, and this guy loves his fantasy movies.
Fantasy space. He is not meant to be a regular person.
No, yeah, he's just like, it's crazy. And this is where we see the evil planet. What is it? What is this?
So,
and why is his name Dr. Shadow? Or is that not his name? Because I wrote that somewhere.
Wait. Are you talking about Gary Oldman? Or are you talking about the big black circle thing?
The big black circle. Is that like a planet that's evil? Is that what's happening?
You know, I feel like it was very like Mordor, the Eye of Mordor, but they couldn't figure out what it should be. So like some little kids scribbled a black circle and they thought, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
let's stop there.
Did he have a name though? Because he like had thoughts and motivation.
I don't know, but whenever I thought he had a name, people, they would get a bloody headache, and that's how I feel about this plot.
That's really good metaphor for that. Yeah. This is where we do get introduced that like there is fucking military, because this is like action sci-fi. Fine, whatever. The military are portrayed as dumb people, so you know, take that as you will. Also, the president character, I was like, every line he says is like a weird affirming question that like I felt bad. I was like, your lines like suck, dude. I'm so sorry. Like every line he's like, so what you're saying is the planet is not getting blown up. That's right. And he's like, so what that means is we're in trouble. And they're like, and he's like, so. And I was like, oh, why? This is so terrible. So that was a little teenage boy.
Okay, so that's President Lindbergh, played by Tommy Lister Jr.
Wow.
I honestly felt like I appreciated not another person changing the plot. I appreciated he was a president that just just followed other
He was
people's
just
advice.
there. Yeah, he really didn't like do much. He just was there to like ask questions.
He was
to
like,
make sure the audience understood what was happening.
What do we do? And the priest is
He's
like,
huh?
it's evil. He's like, are you sure? Oh, I believe you now. And you're like, whew. He's like, hey, are you going to save the world? Thanks. I'll let corporate know.
He's like, I'll just listen to this radio talk show by Chris Tucker and that'll tell me everything I need to know, which is amazing,
so
by the way.
So all of a sudden, we hear about in 300 years, evil can come back. And we're like, whoa, 300 years?
That's not a lot.
That's really not a lot of time. And when we think of where we're at, I hope we're not in that 300 years.
300 or 3,000? I thought it was 3,000.
I thought it was 300. I mean, this totally makes or breaks.
I thought this was the first time that they were having to face this from when we were in 1914. You know what I'm saying? Like when they moved and the alien robot people had it. And I don't know. It probably doesn't matter, honestly.
It's 300 years later. So their version in 1997 of the future.
Oh, I see.
So let's see. 1914.
You're right. No, you're right. It is
plus
300 years.
So now we're
Math
in.
is hard.
I mean, that's still like.
There's 4 elements plus 1 girl equals 5 elements.
I mean, it's just the 21st or 23rd century, and it's like, honestly, I don't really have high hopes we're gonna have flying cars, but prove me wrong, world.
Yeah. So he like tells them what needs to happen. They're all like, wow, okay, that's great. You know, we need to find these like stones and blah, blah, blah. But I think we cut away to Bruce Willis, and this is where we meet him and where he lives.
Yeah, and we got the quick plot of like shooting at the bad thing makes it worse. It just it doesn't want money. It just wants to destroy everything.
Right.
And so the priest or the president's like, I'm listening to you, priest. And then we cut. So we're like, something's gotta happen there. Bruce Willis' future apartment is awful.
It's so small. I was so claustrophobic.
It's very Matrix.
Yeah.
Stripped down.
And like Blade Runner-y a little bit. Like I got those vibes too. And I was like, this future sucks. I don't want this future.
The only cool thing I saw is that you could like throw your coffee pot against the wall and it stuck. Do you want anything else? I don't want anything else.
No, he did have a fun fish tank, but I was also like, but why? And like, is there space? And like, could you put a shelf there instead for some decor? I mean, my God.
All I wrote was landlines in the future. You guys were off.
Yeah. But we get a lot of Bruce Willis exposition because somebody calls him, and I don't know who this person is, but it's like someone he used to work with, I think a military person. And the guy's like, I know you're sad because your ex-wife left you and she's a big slut, but you gotta move on with your life. Anyway, go drive your cab now. And I was like, wow, that was pretty not great, but all right.
We never saw the face of this friend.
No, and I don't even think their friend is like a real person in the movie. I think it's just a voice on the phone for these scenes. And I was like, okay.
There are so many things making connections about teenage Besson
boys
making this. The sexism is
it's bad,
prominent throughout the whole movie, and it starts in the beginning with the two-timing slut, and Bruce Willis he always sounds like he just woke up, and he's like, oh, I love her, and I'm like, but haven't you been up? You have coffee. Why is your voice...
Your coffee's stuck to the wall.
Like,
feed your cat. Come on.
I'm not a space fighter. I drive a cab. You're like, oh, okay, you could still have a better voice.
The running joke of like the mom, every time she calls, she's like nagging and annoying. I'm like, why do all the women have to be annoying? Like, why can't they be normal? But it's fine. Great. Teenage boy.
But we look out the window of a shitty apartment and cars are flying, buildings are tall, and somehow in the future, the other decision was to keep Fluffy Dice in his flying cab car. Who the fuck decided
would not have been my choice.
No way.
I'm aiming for an air freshener because I see that smog. Okay, you can't fool me. I know it stinks in that planet.
I just kept writing. Flying cars is still not a thing. I don't care about Mars. I don't care. I want to fly. I want to fly to New Jersey and say hey to Katie, and I want to do this podcast live.
That'd be great.
Why can't I fly?
Yeah.
Imagine the jobs.
I'm just saying. I'd rather like teleport personally. Just like
that's
be there
true.
in a second.
That's way easier. You don't have to learn how to fly.
No,
accidents.
do that. So anyway, so then we cut back. Oh, wait, there's a Bob scene. And we haven't actually made a Bob scene reference in many moons.
It's so long. Wait, which one? There was potentially a lot.
There were a lot. The one I'm going to bring up is what happens here when Bruce is like, all right, time to go to my cab job. And he opens his apartment door and there's a man who has a, like, I don't even know, like a picture taped to his forehead on a hat or something. And it's up the hallway and then he lifts his head and he has a gun and he's trying to rob Bruce Willis. And I'm not even kidding, Bridge. I was like, oh my God, this guy looks like someone I used to date. That's problem number one. Problem number one. Problem number two, this guy was like on crack. I don't understand. And I think the only point of this scene is so we see that Bruce Willis like has guns and like, I guess that's it. Because he just takes the guy's gun and then the guy does a weird dance in place and the camera doesn't cut away for a while. And who decided that? Teenage boy?
Listeners, if you,
I see you in
if
your TikToks.
You are wondering when to go to the bathroom during this movie and not pause it, it's then.
Definitely that part. Because you'll be back in time.
I blacked
Don't
out.
worry.
I just was watching that thinking, what the fuck is happening? To your point, it shows his gun skills, but I already learned that because he was in the military.
I already know he was in the military. I know, that's why I was like, is this just a weird comic relief? But
and then I thought
it's a little too weird.
I took it a little too far too. I thought, oh, in this like future, everyone's on drugs. Is that because they live in such shitty places and there's only landlines?
I mean,
and he's a cab driver and he's got all these points, and I'm like, man, times are bad? Is that the point?
Maybe that's the subtext, but probably not.
But it didn't need to be executed that way. It was terrible. But Bruce Willis, he was very cool, calm, and collective, very diehard. He plays the same person.
Yeah, he kind of does. Well, this is where we cut back to the priest who's like, blah, 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 Fifth Element lore. Everybody take notes. There's a quiz later, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, the robots with the stones and all the shit. Don't worry, they're coming on here, Miss President. Miss President's like, radical, let him in. And then the evil aliens that you called monsters before. I don't know. They must have names, but I don't know.
Okay, I'll look them up. Keep going.
But they were like evil aliens, and they literally just bust in and like blow the shit out of the robots.
Oh, that's right.
Because they're going to steal what they think are the stones. So you're like, oh man, these evil aliens are out for the stones, but they're not out for the stones. They deliver them to Gary Oldman, who has a haircut.
Gary Oldman,
wow,
is spectacular.
He's chef's kiss in this role.
If he was not in this movie, no one would watch it, because I was like, we created a faceless evil force that wants to destroy everything, has no motivation. Thank God for Gary Oldman, because you had to hate someone, you had to have dialogue, and the other guy just gives people brain bleeds. Gary Oldman has, do you remember, this was a haircut, Kate, here I am again, where guys shaved the side of their head and then they left hair on the other side.
It was like a swoop.
It was a swoop.
Comb over, but hip.
I honestly remember telling my ex, you should get this haircut, and he did, and I was like, this looks terrible on him.
Oh no, Bridget, not the Gary Oldman.
but then Gary Oldman's like, let me take it to the next level and add like clear COVID mask on the side of my head.
That was a look.
And then the popped collar. I mean, he was like, I'm Dan Aykroyd and Coneheads, but I'm evil. And then I thought of Toy Story with Zorg. He's Zorg.
Yes. Well, Zorg is in Toy Story, but yes, he is Zorg. That's okay. He is Zorg. I don't really know what Zorg's like real person job is. We just kind of see him as like, we know he's evil, but not everyone in the world knows he's evil type deal. And he's like doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff where he
sells guns.
Yeah, he like paid off these aliens. He's going to give them like guns in exchange for the stones. But when they do their exchange, there's no stones. And then he freaks out and the alien's like, well, go fuck off. And then he kills all the aliens. Kind of. Almost.
Kind of.
Oh. So, yeah.
And okay, so the good aliens that get, like, destroyed.
Yeah, the robot.
Somehow, they're, apparently, they're the fifth element. Like, one of them is a fifth element, I guess. And because they're all dead, then it's like, what do we do? There's no fifth element. But then, like, in Independence Day, Will Smith, the scientists take a piece and regenerate from it, and they somehow make Milla Jovovich.
Yes.
Leeloo. Who
Leeloo.
is the most perfect specimen. And let me tell you, those turtle shell looking weird creatures to turn into her does not make any sense except a teenage boy wrote this.
And the fact that all of the men are like, can't wait to meet this guy.
Supreme specimen.
This supreme specimen who's a man. And you're like, okay, we get it. And then they're all like, gasp and shock, a naked lady. And then, ew, the one guy's like, I need to take photos. And I was like, oh, that's so gross.
Okay.
Don't include that in the remake, please. Jesus.
So you're watching them create her, and I gotta say, that was pretty cool.
It
Whatever
was cool.
technology
We saw
they used, I was like, I dig it.
bones and then muscles and then like...
It was like a 3D printer for a person.
It was like a human 3D printer, yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I think those exist in the medical field, but bringing someone to life. For all we know, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are doing that right now. They're rewinding The Fifth Element and they're playing it, playing it, and they're sending it to scientists saying, do this.
They are teenage boys in their brains, so I think that makes sense.
So... Okay, Milla Jovovich, I'm so sorry if I keep saying this terrible. She was always a model, not necessarily like an actor.
Really? I didn't know that.
And I read that when she auditioned for this, she approached it like modeling. Like she showed up like glam, like tons of makeup, like hair to the nines, and the director hated her. Was like, I don't want her. And then, this is where I find the other drama I told you about interesting, where he left his then wife for her eventually mid-movie, and then they were married for 2 years and divorced, which is like so weird. Because when you look at the two, I'm like, girlfriend, he is not that attractive. What is happening? But he saw her in like a hotel pool with no makeup and like a lot more subdued and just being natural and not nervous auditioning. And he's like, you're it. Which, let's face it, Kate, I think he thought, I want to have sex with you. And if I make you the star of my movie, then hence why we have turtle shells and then we end up with a model. And I'm like, you know, we've lost the plot, but fine. It's 1997 and we're all sexist.
Quentin Tarantino getting Salma Hayek to be in his movie where she puts her foot in his mouth. Like, yeah, that's like gross. And I think that happens all the fucking time in Hollywood. Anyway, Leeloo is born, I guess. Thank God they give her kind of clothes. Could have been nice to give more, but I guess little Band-Aid strips will do.
No. We need to talk about the clothes. Because this whole movie is just 90% dudes, really, except for her. And she's basically naked the whole film.
Yeah, she wears like a crop top. And I was like, I mean, I guess.
They're Band-Aids.
Why?
They're very, very skinny Band-Aids.
Yeah.
That's what I remember of this movie. Like, when I think back to when I watched it, I just remember her being naked all the time.
And she, like, was. And it was weird. But I do appreciate how she immediately is like, I need to start beating up these men. And I was like, that's correct.
Yes.
You are right. You are the supreme being. I support everything you do. And she dives through a wall, which is really funny.
It's really cool.
Somehow doesn't die. And then she's just running from the cops. And it's this whole, you know, she sees this world sucks. There's like trains on the side of buildings. Oh God, I can't.
Did we not have a Harrison Ford moment in The Fugitive where the police is
Paint
like,
a pan over this damn idea.
He's like, stay calm, don't move. And she literally swimming like swan dives.
Pocahontas swan dive.
Colors of the wind.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's where she crashes through the roof of Bruce Willis's cab. This is a very unique meet cute. Do we want to call it that?
It's a pretty intense crash, and Bruce Willis, rightfully so, is like, what in the frick is happening? And we already know his backstory that he has like, he's almost going to lose his license, and so he's like, here we go, his fluffy dice flies everywhere, he doesn't know what's happening, and then police are chasing him, and he doesn't know what's happening, so just chaos. But then he like saves her. He makes the decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to give her up, because she learned how to say the word help, and I think something's off.
She said help in 1 second, so I don't know, maybe I should roll with this. Because he was gonna like give her up to the cops, and there is like kind of a little bit longer of a scene where the cops like pull up, and this is such a dumbass design of like in the future with flying cars, you have to like pulley system your car to the other person's car to like transport someone else. Like please.
This is
like,
the landline moment.
This doesn't make sense. It's so stupid. But obviously then Bruce Willis spades away and they get away. And then Leeloo tells him, I gotta go find Cornelius. And so this is then where Bruce is like, yo, Cornelius, here's a lady. And then he's like, oh my God, Supreme Being.
Couple of quick things. Police officers stopping at McDonald's of the future.
That was a product placement. Yeah.
The trope of police officers just constantly being bad at their jobs.
Very bumbly. That's
Very
right.
bumbly. They try to chase Bruce Willis. They don't. And somehow they never figure out who he is to get him later. And
yeah.
they treat people like video games where they try to blast him and kill him and he gets away. So you know from the start, you're like, he's competent, but the rest of the world isn't. I don't know what's happening. And then he's fine. How does he find the priest? Like, how did this happen?
That I wish we had more backstory.
Like, what's the Google of the future?
I needed an explanation, but we don't know. He just kicks down the door and is like, here I am now. You're like, oh, Jesus. And there was a lot of, and maybe this was like a 90s trope because I can think of a couple 90s movies where this was like more common, but like there were a lot of characters in this movie who would like faint. Did you notice that? And I was like, what is this? It Takes Two with Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. And I was like, wait, that's the 90s. Oh my God, was this like a 90s thing? Because it happens so many times. Cornelius faints.
Wait, is it like the quicksand of the 80s?
Honestly, no, quicksand was 90s though.
Oh, wow.
I know. I feel like there were a lot of I'm surprised we didn't have quicksand in space with this fucking movie.
Wow.
Bruce Willis, unfortunately though, Leeloo is sleeping and he thinks it's a good idea to cop a feel. Well, I guess like, I don't, he goes to kiss her.
A non-consensual kiss.
Not okay. Sleeping Beauty.
I'm like, we need to talk about his motivation. He's a down and out cab driver. He loves apparently someone else who's a 2-timing slut. We never ever hear of her again.
She's a slut. So.
I don't understand how he's living his life at all. And this beautiful woman falls into his car and he's immediately in love with her, but she doesn't speak his language. The cops are chasing her. And now he's decided to dedicate his life to her. Why? Because she's a hot body.
Bridget, you know what this is reminding me of?
Love Actually.
Fuck. Yeah.
Insane.
Is this Colin Firth if
it's
the
insane.
Housemaid was on the lam from the police? Because god damn, it's so bad. And like they kind of talk a little bit more about stuff later on, but like it just why couldn't
in the beginning he's talking to his imaginary friend we never see and he's like, you know, I just wish I had someone to spend my life with. I'm so lonely. I wish I could find someone. And then he slowly got to know her. Instead, he just is decided to dedicate his life to her, and
instead he's like, I'm a divorced man and my ego's
so
been
random
bruised, so I must fill the void. Yeah, I don't know, but she does hold a gun to his head, which I was like, thank you again, movie. Leeloo, keep it up, girl. I'm happy that you're sticking up for yourself, whatever. Go team. And so Bruce Willis gets kind of like, oh my God, this is literally where I wrote. Okay, so Bruce Willis gets kicked out. The priest and all them is like, all right, deuces, we don't need you anymore, bye. He gets kicked out. He goes home. He talks to his, as Bridget said, his imaginary friend on the phone, which I love. And he literally, this is how they filmed the scene. He's standing talking on the phone, like, yeah, I met this girl, whatever, like, you know, I think I'm gonna get fired, whatever. Then this camera shows him, he lays on his bed, and it's like an overhead shot of him laying on the bed on the phone like a fucking teenager. And I literally wrote right here in my notes, is Bruce Willis actually a teenage boy in this role? Question mark. I'm not even fucking kidding.
It's Ferris Bueller Day Off right there.
Oh my God. It was so, I was like, this is like weird for a grown man, but okay.
Do you think in the future you pay for friends to listen to you on the phone that don't exist?
Maybe that was just like a drug trip. Like, I like that theory of yours that everyone was just like hallucinating like crazy. And
because of McDonald's? No kidding.
Oh, wow. Cocaine in the Coke?
But
yeah.
So basically the priest is like, I got you, Fifth Element. We're going to figure it out, but we got to get the other stones. And so now everyone's on a hunt for the other stones. As I was trying to do math earlier, the 1, 2, 3, 4 stones, which is from Nancy the Craft, earth, fire, wind, rain, that are actually just stones.
They're stones. And the priest is like, oh my God, we don't know where they are. And then it was like, LOL, y'all are jabronis. I know where they are. And you're like, wow, we should have known. The Supreme Being, like, she like knows all. And I don't know, why were we worried?
The priest is like, wait a second. I remember a dude with a terrible haircut that was an art dealer. And he came to me and he was asking about stones. And it was like, so I'm going to go to that guy because I was wondering, maybe he was thinking of something
No,
different.
he gets, like, kidnapped to go there. Gary Oldman says his, like, henchmen to go get Cornelius.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then, then they meet, and, like, this was...
How
like,
awkward.
What? Like, if I was Cornelius, I would have been like, where's my due process? Hello?
Question. Would you have saved Gary Oldman if he was choking on a cherry?
Definitely
But
not.
you're a priest. Would you have saved him? He was choking on a cherry.
But he's like
he was gonna die.
Yeah, but like he's like a good versus evil priest, and like ethically, I don't know. Do you like save evil or
Well,
not?
this is the question. Do you save the one person if the train tracks go left, or do you save the 50 people if the train tracks go right? How do you know?
Well, and then he only saves him, I feel like, to then be like, you see, life is more important than death. I hope you learned today. Anyway, deuces. And I was like, but he didn't learn. Okay. Like, that's why I was like, he should have just fucking killed him. And it wouldn't have been murder. He on his own, Bridge, like in a courtroom, his hands are clean.
I'll tell you this, Kate. Then I was really confused because then there was a secret robotic cockroach that was filming someone's phone conversation.
I don't know why, but that gave me Men in Black vibes. So
what was happening?
I mean, I guess the cockroach. But
what was happening?
They were trying because they didn't know where the stones were. So
nobody knows where the stones are.
But Leeloo knows where the stones are. But then and then somehow it must have been through Cornelius or something. They all basically everyone at this point is finding out where the stones are. They're with the diva who is going to sing opera on. I thought it was like a space cruise ship.
It seems like a bunch of rich people.
Yeah.
On like an uppity cruise.
Right. Like that was the vibe. So they were like, so that lady has it all. So now like everybody knows that. And so because the president finds this out, they then develop a plan where he turns to the military and says, we need a very covert operation where somebody goes in and gets the stones. So this is the plan they come up with, Bridget. Are you ready for this fucking plan?
It's a terrible plan.
Ready for the plan?
I'm ready for it.
They decide to recruit a guy who hasn't worked for them for 6 months that just got fired from driving a taxi. They decide to fake set up that he won a contest.
Yep.
Not tell him anything really ahead of time. Show up the day before. Force him to pretend he has a wife of a lady, and then they all make jokes about how she's not pretty, and I didn't appreciate that. And they just think it's cool, and he'll just do it, and nobody signs any contracts. No, nothing. What the fuck are we doing?
But somehow people get his name because
it's announced on the radio.
Because I believe 16-year-old Luke Besson was saying, how do I connect everybody together? Because now
we're the radio.
We're in all these other universes and worlds and different people and aliens. And if I just announce his name on the radio, then everyone's like, that's how we get there. Now, Kate, these are very powerful people with lots of weapons and guns. Do they really need a ticket to get to this cruise ship?
That's exactly what I thought.
Why can't they just hijack the cruise ship? Is this a magical
Gary
place?
Oldman literally walks on later in the movie, so I don't know why we had to be weird and set up a fake radio contest. That's a lot.
How many fake people tried to be Bruce Willis to get on that plane? And what plane? We have flying cars? Why are we getting on a plane?
I think they had to get in a transport to the something. I don't know, Bridget.
Okay, but all of this is very important because it introduces us to what you and I are in the future, which is Chris Tucker. We are future podcasters.
Wait. First of all, yes, absolutely. Second of all, I do just want to go back because there's a lot happening. But basically, Bruce Willis does end up going on the ship, but he goes with Leeloo. And originally, it was going to be Leeloo and the priest. And then Bruce Willis kicks the priestess. So now it's him and Leeloo, the first one's on. Then the evil aliens also stole a ticket, something.
Yeah.
And they try to sneak on and it doesn't work. Yeah. And then a henchman of Gary Oldman tries to sneak on and it doesn't work. So anyway, and then the priest sneaks onto the plane. So again, it seems like it's kind of easy to get on this. I don't know why we had to be weird about it, but yes.
The plane goes off the ground where I thought we were flying and there's no ground anymore. I don't know what's happening.
We're in space. I don't know. But yes, this is where we meet Chris Tucker. And I gotta say, I mean, as a kid, he's the most memorable part of the movie.
Most memorable.
And I was a little worried that as an adult, I would hate him, but I kind of loved him. I thought he was really fun.
I said said in the beginning Gary Oldman made this movie, and I would like to make an edit. Chris Tucker and Gary Oldman made this movie.
Thank God they both were here because it was getting a little dusty dry for me.
Chris Tucker is so flamboyant. He is so over the top. And he believes Bruce Willis is there because he's a big fan. And so he's like, isn't this exciting? You get to meet me. He's like a famous podcaster, right? Famous
he's got
radio.
Like a radio. He's like an on the move radio host, which like kind of is like podcasting. He's just like, I don't know. What is this show even about? What's the show about?
I think it's topical. I think it's about life. And I think I feel like he took Prince as like inspiration.
Yes.
Meets, I want to say, do you know John? Trixie Mattel?
Oh, yeah.
Meets Joe Rogan. You know, like lots are happening. Like, I'm telling you a play-by-play. I'm having opinions, but I'm also my own beautiful, fantastic, magical creature. And I actually liked him better as an adult, except Kate, he's kind of slutty he's very slutty, and he's just having sex with everybody, and he just tells them all the same thing, that they're the one or something. And I was like, ew, I hate it. And all the flight attendants were naked.
What I did appreciate, which I'm gonna say this was probably not a teenage boy moment, this must have been an edit when this guy got older, but you see Chris Tucker like going down on a lady, and I was kind of like,
that's refreshing.
I think that's kind of awesome. Yeah, I was like, I like how it's not like usually it's the girl doing that, so I was like, okay, cool. So that gave me some brownie points for him. I was like, that's right. You definitely should do that all the time, sir. A+. I hope his mic wasn't on, you know. I think he was done recording at that part.
That's my name. I'm Chris Tucker, Ruby Rhod, and I'm a podcaster. Oh, lady, you're so beautiful. I love you so much.
I also love how Ruby signs his autographs with a paintbrush, and he just dips it in paint and just like walks a line of paint on like a bunch of girls.
Like as if he's Jack Nicholson in the original Batman. Get out of here. Wait, when you start putting these films together, Indiana Jones, Batman, this is a teenage boy stealing The Fugitive, stealing from all these other movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so. So, and then Leeloo learns how to speak English because she just taught herself because she's a supreme being, and you're like, cool. There is a part in here I really liked because he is like, listen, we're not on vacation, okay? Like, I'm gonna mansplain. And then she literally is like, I know, you need to chill out because like I'm gonna protect you because like I'm supreme and you're inferior. And then he was like, what? And she's like, night. And then he goes to bed, and I was like, yeah, cool, I like that. Although then I have critiques when we do get on the fucking ship because she literally disappears for like half that time.
Yep.
Which is the opposite of what we just set up, but fucking fine. It's fine. This cruise ship, I believe, is Hawaiian themed. Is that what we think? Or I don't know what we think.
I guess so.
For getting Sarah Marshall on a ship.
Yes, we did. And yet, with this rich space cruise, Hawaiian theme, we now have an alien opera singer that we're all here to see.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's just where's
the theme?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't even know. Like, did we have dinner before this? Like, we just kind of, right when we get on the ship, it very quickly is like, and now we're going to the opera. And I was like, but literally, like, Leeloo is not there. And I don't know if I missed it or if they just ignored it, but I was like, why isn't she?
So,
why aren't they together? Like,
I know. I don't know why her and Bruce separated, but Leeloo sees the opera singer in the hallway and gives a little winky, and the opera singer's like, hey, I got you. Sends like, one of their people and is like, don't worry, I'm gonna get you the stones. Yeah. I just gotta sing this song because that's why everyone's here for the Hawaiian themed space cruise.
Opera plus Hawaii equals making sense, right?
And I'm going to tell you right now, Kate, why aren't we going to real concerts with this opera singer in this outfit? Because that, like, you know how Sia, like, doesn't show their face? Right. Why can't this person, like, what is this person's name?
I don't know, but you said they're a real opera singer,
They're a real opera singer.
So was all that singing legit? Because, like, that's range.
Diva Plavalaguna?
Is that the character's name or the actress?
That's the actress name on like that beautiful woman, but I'm gonna look up the opera singer's name.
Oh, you mean the character? Okay. Well, as you're looking that up, so this opera setup.
Eva Mula.
Okay.
Albanian opera lyric soprano. Wow. Continue. And it's just called the Diva Dance. And I think you gotta go on YouTube and watch the Diva Dance because, oh, 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 oh,
So fun.
It's so good.
It's so fun.
Can you imagine if like Drake meets Rihanna remix the Diva Dance? Get
Yo.
out. Lady Gaga.
I'm ready.
I'm here for it. What are
I'm
you
ready
guys
for that.
doing? Sorry.
I also loved how they paired that with the fight scene because like Leeloo finally gets to like fight because you know she only does it once, but like it's fun. And she's fighting the evil monster aliens because they just busted on the ship or they snuck on. I don't fucking know, but they're there because it's so easy to get on this ship, and they're continuing to look for the stones. So she gets in a fight with them.
I got some problem with these monsters too.
Okay.
These monsters want the stones because they believe they'll get guns from Gary Oldman. But the amount of weapons that these monsters have to fight to get the stones, I'd argue Gary Oldman doesn't even have that many. Yeah. Very confusing. But we lost the plot. Continue.
I think these aliens are from Texas. Excuse me. So they get in a big fight. She obviously kicks their butt. Life is good. Meanwhile, Gary Oldman, we do get a little like scene where we see he gets a call, a literal phone call from the planet. I wrote the planet's name is Mr. Shadow. It's not Dr. Shadow. I thought it was a doctor in my memory, but it's Mr. Shadow apparently. And basically the planet's like, where the fuck are the stones? And you're like, oh, okay, weird partnership, because I'm pretty sure at the end of this, Gary Oldman's gonna blow up and die, so I'm not really sure what the benefit is for him, but okay. Okay. Fine. And then this is where Gary Oldman's like, I'll go fucking get them myself. So now he is also going to the ship and he sees Leeloo and he's like, give me the stones. And so she gives him this case, which is literally what happened earlier in the movie where he was given a case and
he's kind of an idiot.
He didn't like fact check. Like, I don't know how many lessons you need to learn.
This is like the cherry. Like he just doesn't get it.
I know. She should have just gave him a cherry and that would have ended all this way sooner. But because we know he didn't learn from that experience either. But yeah, he shoots at her and then she like is in a vent a la Die Hard, but she is shot. So then she just kind of like lays there dying. And you're like, what? That's fucking lame. Are you? She's a supreme being and like that's how it's gonna go down and now she just gotta lay there? Like, I didn't like that.
I hated it
because then
too.
she's not involved with any of the fun action that happens like later. I was like, oh,
she would have killed it.
I wanted to see more ass kicking from her, but
agreed.
The evil monster aliens bust into the opera and like basically take over their shooting. And I gotta say, unfortunately, even though I know it's an action movie, just because of the country we live in and the times we live in, this was a little triggering to see.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I was in like space. I didn't think about that.
I just felt like so uncomfortable. And like they weren't like shooting people. So I was like, okay, like it's not like we're just like mowing down, but I still like hated it. It was scary.
Yeah, it was really, really violent.
Yeah, but this is where Bruce Willis, the opera lady, gets shot. I don't know why she fucking got shot, but sure. Fucking fine. Let's kill all the ladies, right? LOL. And then she's like, Bruce, listen here. I got the stones. You gotta, and then she goes, you have to love Leeloo.
Ugh.
You do. And I was like, whoa. Well, how do you even know about his connection with Leeloo? Because she wasn't at the opera. She missed the cool show. What the fuck is going on?
I hated this. I hated this so much because,
oh my God.
She's like, she seems like she's this big supreme being, but she's a weak woman, Bruce Willis. And so you need to love her.
Gross.
Can you imagine if we get to the point where we create the most supreme being and then we also have to add in like sexist shit on it just to save the world so we don't hurt Bruce Willis's feelings?
You're not actually that supreme because you need a man to like be complete. LOL.
I want to barf the color blue of that opera singer's outfit. It's sane. Also, I'm hungover. Continue.
Wow. Okay. So, well, it gets worse, Bridge, because now we have to reenact Saw, because we have to dive into this woman's stomach to get the stones. I'm sorry. There was no other place to put those, huh?
She had these cool tubes on her head.
Yeah.
Why couldn't she, Men in Black, like her head open up in a very consensual way? Instead,
paint them blue and tie them to her arms. Yeah.
Bruce Willis is making out with Leeloo when she's passed out. He's sticking his hand in other women's body parts, stomachs.
Hate it.
Is he doing a C-section? I hate it.
I hate it, but then he's like, well, guess we got the stones. And then now the plot is him and Ruby, they have to like get out and not be dead. So he ends up like shooting and fighting. And then Ruby, the whole time Ruby's narrating, and this is where the president is listening to this live show of chaos. None of the military decide to go there and help. I just want to point out, even though this is a live broadcast. So that's fucked up, but cool. And I mean, this is like fun action when they get to this like big ballroom, I don't know, space, and it's just Bruce Willis like shooting all the alien dudes, and that's fun. Oh my god, Bridge, you know who else is in this movie?
Who?
So the guy, when the diva comes in and he's like, I'm security, and he was just like a little sailor boy. Do you remember that actor and what movie he was in that we did?
Yes, he was in Something About Mary.
Yes! He was Norm. The name's Norm.
Oh, God. Where he pretended. He sucks in every movie, Kate.
He was, like, lame in this, too. I was like, you're head of security, and, like, do you have a weapon? Jesus, sir. Oh, God. It's the worst.
The worst.
But Bruce Willis saves the day, and there's, you know, silly hootenanny shenanigans. There's a really fun part where he shoots an outline of the ceiling, and then Chris Tucker falls through, which is not real, but it's fine.
Whatever.
You know, we're all having a good time. Whatever. So Korben basically murders all the aliens, basically, and then he's like, all right,
he really does.
It's like, yeah, everything's good now. Oh, by the way, it's been like 8 hours since I've seen Leeloo as the supreme being, and I was supposed to kind of protect her, but I like forgot about her, and guess we'll go look for her now, and oh, now she's bleeding. Cool. Great.
What is supreme if she can just be shot and killed? I'm just confused.
I think she just is like supreme at learning, maybe. And then but what are we doing? So then she's like kind of depressed, and she's like,
well,
you people suck. And he's like, yeah.
If we were thinking of a Steven Spielberg teenage moment, right? A teenage boy moment, it would be the moment of, why should I save people when everyone's so awful to each other?
True story.
Everyone has had this moment, especially teenage boys. And, well, maybe everybody. But I feel like there's very much this, I don't know, existential crisis. And my answer would not be, I need Bruce Willis's love to be okay.
No.
My answer would be, can we try to make no wars happen? Can I be supreme enough to like not have wars happen?
Can we do some like policy changes and like defunding the militarization?
Raise better people. Let's get our mental health in order.
Support education. Support the arts. Children are our future. Yeah, they probably don't do any of that. And also there's a bomb that Zorg puts on the ship, but then Zorg goes back on the ship
so
because
confusing.
He realizes he doesn't have the stone, and when he leaves the ship, then all the good characters go on the ship, that's his ship, and then they fly away, and then Zorg blows up.
Okay, guys.
Wow.
I know you're not
fucking
following the plot because we're not, but that's what happens. Like,
that's how he goes out, even though he was gonna die anyway, so I don't know why it's like a problem now. I'm not really sure of the motivation.
And then after all this, we're not done because we gotta go to that goddamn pyramid and figure out how to make these elements work.
Wait, Bridge, this whole part felt like I was in an escape room where nobody knows anything at all, and everyone is and you're just like touching things, and you're like, I don't know, is something gonna move? Does this one line over here mean anything? Is this a clue? Like, I have no fucking idea. That's literally what this whole scene felt like. And I was like, I would not escape this escape room, I don't think. We needed Jodie Foster to move things along.
I swear to God, if Jodie Foster was there, she'd be like, listen, line up, it's the elements, blow your winds, take the earth. Starts
like, here's a fucking match. Hurry it up. Come on. Bruce Willis, go tell you love her. Get it over with. Jeez.
Why couldn't she just be in the center as the fifth element?
Right?
I'm so annoyed that she needed him to say, I love you to save the world. I want so many edits.
Yeah, because she could have just been like, I love people. Like, it could have just been that she, like, when she came alive, learned to appreciate the human race despite its faults. But it's like, no, you should, like, bone this dude. She's like, you're right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but okay.
So then
it was very Captain Planet. Did you ever watch that show?
Captain Planet.
Earth, wind, water, fire. And then the fifth one is heart.
Oh.
What the fuck? Okay. So that's what's happening.
What other element would it be?
It wouldn't be any. It would be 4. But Captain Planet says there's 5.
But
so we have to
fifth one.
follow Captain Planet rules.
Man.
Yeah, and so the evil planet who is Mr. Shadow dies. He doesn't like blow up. He just kind of stays there floating. So,
will he be back
do something about that?
Years?
Is he gonna wake up in 300 years?
Ockies.
I'm not sure, but yeah, then, we end with them boning, and
I just hate it.
I guess that was the goal all along for the teenage boys.
And how in the world do we go back into the scientist lab and they're back in this like weird chamber? And what's happening?
That was weird phoned in. I don't even remember what the guy said. He was just like, yeah, they're in there, like resting up. And I was like, what are we resting? We didn't have a battle. We were like in an escape room in a pyramid. And I think they won. I think they beat the highest score. So now they took their photo and then they get to go. Like, what do you mean?
They got their goodie bag.
They got the goodie bag. They bought a shirt, to have the memory, and like life is good. So what? But
what do you think, Kate? I mean, would you watch this? Like, this is a lot.
You should watch it at least once because there are some like good parts. Like Chris Tucker and Gary Oldman are so fun.
They're so fun.
So like go watch those performances. But like you don't need to watch it on the reg. I don't think, unless I don't know, you want to live out a Bruce Willis mental fantasy.
I think people can watch this and laugh together.
Yeah, there's so much to laugh at.
There's a lot to laugh at collectively. This is a watch with your friends movie and giggle. Have some giggling.
Yep.
Wow.
We did it.
I think my brain is bleeding from trying to follow that movie.
Oh my God, Mr. Shadow, no.
Wow.
Get him out of there. Has it been 300 years?
Wow.
Well, Bridge, I have our next pick. Woo! And I need to pull it up. Now, you may be wondering, Katie, why the fuck is this your pick? I don't remember why or how this movie popped into my brain, but it did, and maybe I'll remember at some point, but right now I don't remember. But Bridge, we're going back. We're going back. We are going to 1971.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Because it's the 70s, this movie is rated G. I don't think it should be, but it is. So,
God.
There's that. This is a very popular, I'm going to say popular story, because I think we all know the story. There has been a remake-ish of this. And actually, I think sometime this year, there's going to also be a spin-off movie about one of these characters. But
wow.
Let me read you the one sentence, and then you're gonna fucking know what's happening. A poor but hopeful boy seeks one of the 5 coveted golden tickets that'll send him on a tour to Willy Wonka's mysterious chocolate factory. Therefore, we're watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
The original.
The OG, that's right.
I got a golden ticket. I got a golden ticket.
This is the musical songs, and it's kind of weird. Woo!
Grandpa wouldn't get off the bed until he learned I'm gonna make money.
Grandpa didn't want to work a job. Yeah, we're all poor because of him. That's right. Everyone remembers that, Bob.
Whoa, where in the world did you think of this one?
No, I probably was like craving chocolate, and then maybe that's just what happened.
Do we all just want to win a golden ticket?
My God. I mean, I would fucking go apeshit in Willy's Chocolate Factory.
I mean, Kate, we did work at a chocolate shop.
Oh my God, we did. And the first day of work, I walked in wearing flip-flops, and the owner, she goes, Katie, we're working with food. You can't... She's like, Katie, what? Like, you just started and you already fucked up. You 14-year-old. Because I was 14 when I worked there. So then I didn't make that mistake again. But yeah, good times.
Wow.
Oh boy. Yeah, we have like some experience with chocolate.
Wow,
That's so true. Forgot about all that.
Whoa, you're like, I cannot wait to watch this because it has been remade so many times.
Yes.
Wow. And there's a book. We had to read the book when we were in school. This was a big... They pushed this book a ton when... I just remember in, elementary school?
Yeah, definitely. This was... Roald Dahl wrote the book. And, he's written, like, Matilda and The Witches and, like, just a lot of children's different stories, whatever. But it's so funny because all his stories are like really dark.
Really dark.
Kind of love that. And this movie's like kind of dark, which is why I'm like, LOLG, this should be like fucking PG-13 or some shit. But all right, let's do it. So yeah, we're going to the chocolate factory.
Wow.
Can't wait. And the movie that's coming out this year that they're doing is, I think it's just called Wonka, and it's like a Willy Wonka origin story with Timothy Chalamet as Wonka.
Chalamet?
Or Chalamet. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. What? It's gonna be interesting. But
my head hurts. Okay, I can only follow so much
sorry.
plot.
I'm not helping. The
we will
hangover.
see
I'm so
you
sorry.
next week for You Got a Golden Ticket, Willy Wonka. Bada boom, baby. Bada boom.
Ah, ba boom.
Bada boom.
Bridge.
Oh, yeah, yes, that too, yes. I forgot.
Yeah, Bridge is trying to finish up, so I'm gonna go quick. Bridge, if you were Leeloo and you're the supreme being, and everyone's like, you need like love to like, you know, save the world and explode, I would tell everyone to fucking reframe, step back, and like really think about what love means, because it doesn't just mean Bruce Willis. Am I right? Thank you.
Wow.
And I guess somehow it would work and we'd all survive. So,
wow.
Yeah, because I love you, so, you know.
Yeah. I just, thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't need Bruce Willis's love. I would just need yours.
Yeah, like family and
Kate,
friends. Bridge!
I was trying to help you come up with your teenage screenwriting story that you wanted to turn into a futuristic movie.
Oh, dear.
And you were like, do you think there will be landlines in the future? I'd say, that's going to be a no, Kate. That's going to be a no. And then I would protect you from people making fun of you after your movie is amazing.
Well,
because I love you.
Bridge.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, I love that. And listeners, if you also love weird technology and sci-fi movies that are so inaccurate, it's big LOL. And if you think that there are all different kinds of love in the world and it doesn't just mean having sex with Bruce Willis in a tube, and if you think that Gary Oldman and Chris Tucker are just the best, and gosh, we love to see them, you should write us a review.
Hey.
We love reviews. We love written reviews. You can review us on Apple Podcasts, along with some other podcasting apps. We also have a website, sisterswhoseenit.com. On our website, you can request a movie. So there's a form you can fill out, you can get on there, and you can put on a list, and we'll do it eventually. And Bridge, what else can they do on our website?
They can buy us coffee.
Woo!
They can buy us coffee, which is just money, which is essentially, if we were cab drivers in the future, tipping us, okay? By saying, this is great, I'm so entertained, I should throw them some dough. In addition, if you're thinking, well, but then I just throw them dough, what happens? You could also buy merchandise, and then that dough makes things come to your house, and it's typically funny and hilarious and very random, and just enjoy it and check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So check all that out, listeners, and we hope to hear from you. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm gonna go on ticket. Oh my God, Oompa Loompa songs too.
Oompa Loompa Doo-dee-doo. See you next week for the episode. Ooh. Love you. Bye-bye. That's it. Chris Tucker says bye-bye. Ruby Rhod. Bye-bye. I love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswhoseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.